Number 10, the sea spider. If you're like me and you don't like spiders living on land, well, I have some delightful news for you. They also live in the ocean. There are even giant ones that suck out the lives of their prey. Yup, they latch onto their prey for dear life and suck out any and all fluids they can get their hands on. Yay! Their leg spans are about the same as one of the largest spiders on land, such as the Goliath bird-eating tarantula. I should say they are technically not spiders, the main difference being that they carry their organs in their legs. In fact, they are almost all legs. Though they aren't very dangerous to humans, especially considering they live so far beneath the waves, they would definitely still send a chill down my spine. Thankfully, they reside in cold climate waters, mainly Antarctica. In our number 9 spot today, we have the sarcastic fringehead. The sarcastic fringehead is a saltwater fish that is fairly small. They're around 30 centimeters long and are fairly slender with very large mouths. They're pretty aggressive fish and they are very territorial. When they fight other fish, they press their mouths together and that's how they can tell who the bigger fish is, and the bigger fish just automatically wins the fight. These things honestly look like they shouldn't even exist. These fish like to make their homes in shells or small crevices, and they have even been found to be living inside of humans' littered soda cans. Luckily, they are so small, they aren't really a threat to humans, but they are just so creepy to look at. Number 8. I love this name. Gulper eels. Gulper eels, or pelican eels, is another aptly named creature as it's known for its massive balloon jaws. They are black in color and can usually reach around 2 to 3 feet in size, or sometimes double that, and live anywhere between 10,000 to 16,000 feet beneath the surface. Unlike the fangtooth, however, it does have a little bioluminescent spot on its tail to help lure prey so it can open up its jaw and swallow them whole. They also have really small teeth, so they kind of have to. Gulper eels can inflate their jaw and stomach to almost 2/3 the length of their body so they can consume prey larger than their body, hence the name gulper eels. That's a great name. That's terrifying though. Their primary source of food, however, mainly consists of crabs and shrimp and other small creatures. So if they don't thirst after humans, I shouldn't be scared, right? Wrong! What if they get tired of small game and realize the power that they are capable of? Just saying. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Atlantic wolffish. Okay, these guys are named due to their teeth, and honestly, you can totally understand why. On both the upper and lower jaw, they have like 6 sharp and strong teeth that honestly freak me out. Because of how strong their teeth are, they tend to eat hard-shell creatures like crustaceans and mollusks, and they are also important to keeping the sea urchin and green crab population in check. The wolffish like to stay mostly in one area and tend to live in near freezing temperatures. They have such a cool feature though. Because they live in such cold temperatures, they have what is basically just antifreeze running through their bodies so that they don't freeze up. Even though they look super creepy, I do have to admit that that is pretty cool. Unfortunately, these guys have a population that is quickly declining, largely due to being accidentally caught by those who are overfishing. The good news is that they are only a species of concern at the moment, which does mean that there is still time to turn it all around. Number 6, the Northern Stargazer. While the Northern Stargazer sounds like a very romantic name for someone who heads north to check out the northern lights, nope, we're talking about this guy. This deep-sea creature lives in the dark open waters of the Chesapeake Bay, a region in Maryland, USA, where salt and freshwater mix. Stargazers have a flattened black and brown body with white spots along its back. This compressed exterior is perfect for the way they bury themselves beneath the sand with just enough for their mouths and eyes to be exposed so they can keep an eye on food. Once something tasty catches its eye, it opens up its mouth, creating a vacuum and sucks it down like a little snack. Its mouth faces upwards towards the top of its head and its eyes sit right on top so it can look straight up at the stars. Now the name seems clever. Look, they don't eat humans, they eat mainly little fish and crustaceans. They're pretty harmless. We should leave them alone, but imagine just for a second, you're scuba diving and all of a sudden you just see this staring up at you. That's enough to give you nightmares.
In our number 5 spot today we have the Pacific viperfish. The Pacific viperfish can be found at different areas in the ocean depending on the time of day. They usually like to stay in the bathyal zone, which is 1,000 meters to 4,000 meters below the surface of the ocean, but at nighttime they will sometimes rise up into much more shallow water because there is more food for them to eat. It's easy to pick out which fish is a viperfish because of the fact that its jaw is sticking out forward and then it has those extra long pointy teeth. The Pacific viperfish is predatory and mostly eats other fish, but will also chow down on crustaceans, plankton, and shrimp. The fish can grow to be about 1 foot long and are considered one of the most aggressive fish for its size. I know it's only 1 foot long, but hearing how vicious it is, coupled with how ugly it is, I really just don't ever want to be anywhere near this thing. One cool thing about these fish though is that they have what is called ultra black skin, and it reduces the reflection of anything that is illuminated around them so that they can camouflage themselves easier in the darkness of the deep sea.
Number 4. The fang-toothed fish. Yup, you heard that right. Yes, it is exactly as it sounds. The fang-toothed fish has a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth perfect for clutching just about any size of prey in its jaw. That's right, any size. But it's fine, they live in the deepest parts of the ocean, the deepest having been recorded at around 16,000 feet. That is until they just so happen to feel like migrating up to the surface for a little vacation. Unlike a lot of other deep sea dwellers, fangtooth do not have any bioluminescent organs to attract their prey. That is because they're not the sit and wait kind of predator and instead seek out their lunch using their excellent sense of smell. They are more active than most deep sea dwellers and heavily rely on any light that may seep into the dark home. But oh, I should also mention they're also only 7 inches long and not dangerous at all to humans, we think. Tiny but mighty, as they say.
In our number 3 spot today we have the goblin shark. A goblin shark is sometimes called a living fossil because the rest of the family that this type of shark belongs to have actually all gone extinct. Not like its mom and dad kind of family, but the family that this species belongs to. These sharks have pink skin and a long snout that sticks out really far, and these really creepy teeth that are like nails. When these sharks were first discovered by humans in 1910, the guy who was researching them wrote that this shark is certainly grotesque. They usually grow to be around 3 or 4 meters, which is 10 to 13 feet, but in 2000 there was one that was caught that was 6 meters or 20 feet long. These sharks tend to stay pretty deep in the ocean, with the adults swimming even deeper than the young ones, so they don't tend to be a threat to our ways of life, thank goodness.
Coming in at number 2, we have the anglerfish. If you were wondering what the heck that big ugly fish was in the clip at the beginning of this video, that would be the anglerfish. This bony fish is known for its luminescent horn that is used to lure other fish as prey. There are different kinds of anglerfish, but those who live in the deep sea are referred to as sea devils, which truly does feel fitting. The females are much larger than the males and can reach up to almost 4 feet, while the males can reach up to 5.5 inches. An anglerfish is able to eat prey that is the same size as itself. That's crazy! Luckily, most anglerfish remain so deep in the ocean that they are not a threat to humans, and even if they did live not so quite deep in the oceans, most humans would just be too big for them to even try to attack. So there. That sure doesn't mean they aren't crazy to look at though. If you like this video so far, let us know by pressing that thumbs up button, and be sure to follow to stay up to date on our channel. Now it's time for number 1.
In our number 1 spot today we have the colossal squid. This one already sounds like a horror movie ready to stand beside the likes of Jaws, Godzilla, and King Kong. The colossal squid is a real creature that lives in the darkest, coldest depths surrounding the waters of Antarctica. This creature lives up to its name as it reaches an average of 46 feet in size and weighs around 500 kilograms. I'm 5'5", so if it decided to eat me, it could fit 8 of me inside of its stomach, or more if I was in pieces. Anyways, they also have large tentacles equipped with suckers that have little razor hooks on them to better latch onto its prey, and let's just hope that its prey isn't you. Its diet mainly consists of large fish such as the 7-foot Patagonian toothfish, and small ones, and even consumes their own kind. But they've also been known to try and consume larger prey like sperm whales, who often have been seen with scars attributing to their battles they must have faced. If you do decide to provoke one, however, make sure it's not female. Apparently, they're the larger ones. So, to conclude, they're colossal, scary, and ambitious. What more could you want from a sea monster? At least now, if you ever wondered where the tales of the Kraken came from, you now know.
At number 10, we have the gulper eel. As you might imagine, this scary looking eel has an extremely large mouth that they use to swallow their prey whole. If that's not terrifying enough, the gulper eel is so adapted to eating large objects that its mouth and stomach can even expand further to accommodate food. There's actually not a lot known about this creature because, well, they live 3,000 meters below the surface, but from my own observations, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I can tell that I never want to come face to face with these guys. Apparently they can grow up to 6 feet long, which is not okay, and they have extremely long tails that they use like a whip in order to move through the water fast. Snaggletooth comes onto this list at number 9. Take a look at this nasty underbite. Quick, someone call the orthodontist because this thing needs to be fixed ASAP. Well, as it turns out, the snaggletooth fish uses his underbite to his advantage in order to kill his prey. These creepy fish can grow up to 2 feet long and they live in the deepest parts of the ocean. So scientists are still trying to discover more information about them. All we know for certain is they have sharp hooked teeth and they use this to snag their prey. Evolution really helped them out because in the deep sea, food is pretty scarce, so you need every advantage that you can get. And you know what? Note to self, stay away from the deep sea. And now at number 8, we're talking about the viper fish. These nightmarish fish live at depths of up to 2,800 meters, and they are mainly found in tropical waters. Thankfully, they are rarely seen by humans, so we're safe for now. One of their organs lights up, which is so cool, which actually protects the viperfish from other predators that are moving below them. The light also helps to attract prey, and they use it to communicate with mates and rivals. Now, let's talk about their teeth. Their teeth are unusually large, and when it hunts in the dark, their large teeth help to grab and hold onto their prey, so they have no chance of escaping. And when they catch a larger prey, they can swallow them by rotating their skull. The viperfish is one of the most fiercest predators in the deep sea, and the scary part of them is once they bite into you, it will be too late and there's nothing that you can do. Making our way into number 7, we have the giant spider crab. I mean, no thanks to this. Normally, I wouldn't consider crabs as like, something that is scary, but there's exceptions to everything, and there's an exception to this. This giant crab has super long legs and huge pincers. These guys are one of the largest crabs in the world, and lucky for us, they live at the bottom of the ocean.
Are basically giant underwater spiders. One big difference being that they have claws strong enough to seriously damage human beings.
These crabs can weigh up to 44 pounds and they have a leg span of about 13 feet. I mean, we're talking about their leg. Is this real life right now? I'm officially scared for life. Nothing should be that big. Oh, and get this, they will eat just about anything, including corpses. And even though these crabs are massive, they're extremely good at camouflaging their enormous bodies. And now let's talk about the razor sharp claws. They're able to move pretty fast and they're able to kill other smaller animals with ease. Their claws are so strong and large enough to pry open muscles and clamps. So keeping that in mind, can you imagine what they can do to a human? Terrible claw lobster brings us to number 6. This thing looks like they came straight out of a horror movie. The terrible claw lobster has one really long, scary looking claw that kind of looks like a chainsaw, or maybe that's just me. This creature was discovered in 2010, so fairly recently, and it was found 250 meters below the surface in the waters in the Philippines. Am I the only one that's concerned that we've only discovered this thing 9 years ago? What else is living in the water that we don't know about? Thankfully, these lobsters only grow up to 3 centimeters. So they're fairly small, although they probably look big in pictures right now. So his long toothed claw might be the only thing terrifying about him. Even though this lobster is, relatively tiny, I wouldn't want to be pinched by his razor sharp claw. I'm pretty sure he can amputate my big toe if he really wanted to. Number 5, we have the sarcastic fringehead. And believe me, I'm not being sarcastic about his name. This terrifying creature can open its mouth insanely wide so that he can easily devour his prey. The sarcastic fringehead fish lives off of the Pacific coast of North America, and they are extremely temperamental.
They now compete to intimidate each other, opening their large jaws to make themselves seem monstrous.
They are fierce territorial creatures that will aggressively protect their homes. Whenever they sense danger, they will open up their enormous mouths and show their needle-like teeth in order to defend themselves. At first, they will give you a warning by flexing and snapping their jaw, but if their enemy ignores the warning, they won't hesitate to use their ferocious teeth to attack. Chimera takes us to number 4, also known as ghost sharks, ratfish, or spookfish. This strange looking creature with the really strange names, well, they live deep in the oceans, and scientists believe that they are some of the oldest fish to have ever lived. I mean, take a look at this picture right here. They have huge dark eyes. They look like they are staring directly into my soul and your guys' soul right now. They kind of look like a robot or mechanical. Most chimeras live deep in the water, which makes them very hard to study. But what we do know is that they have 3 pairs of tooth plates that protrude from the mouth like a rat. Oh, and their teeth are extremely effective at grinding shells so they can easily eat their prey. Let's just say that I'm happy that chimeras aren't interested in humans, but I guess they can evolve and things can change. And yeah, I'm like nervous laughing right now. Number 3, we're talking about the tongue-eating louse. This thing is actually super disgusting. Well, let me explain what this gross monster does. First, this creature will enter a fish through its gills. Then it will change sex while living in a parasite within the fish. And then it will attach itself to the fish's tongue. It sucks out all of the blood on the fish's tongue until the tongue just falls off. I don't even know what to do with that information. That is absolutely terrifying, and now I'm gonna have nightmares about these gross little creatures crawling in through my nose and like sucking the blood off of my tongue, and I'm probably gonna have nightmares about my tongue falling off. Someone in Belfast bought a fish from a supermarket, and when she went to prepare dinner, she noticed a large parasite in its mouth. I'm pretty sure I'd never eat another fish in my lifetime if I saw this in person. The woman actually took the fish back to the store to get a refund, and before you start jumping, to conclusions here, the tongue-eating louse doesn't pose a risk to humans, but I'd still be pretty traumatized if this happened to me. Northern Stargazer takes the number 2 spot. If you're planning on a scuba diving vacation, you might want to consider getting your money back. On this list, we've seen a lot of hideous and scary looking fish, and the Northern Stargazer is no exception to that. Judging by the name, this fish sounds pretty docile and friendly, right? Well, think again. You guys know what you guys clicked on. This dead looking fish buries itself into the ocean floor, and it will jolt out at its prey while opening up its giant mouth in order to swallow his prey whole. Well, let's watch this guy in action. That fish never even stood a chance. This is actually pretty barbaric. I'm never going underwater ever again. My scuba diving vacation is canceled. Actually, I don't even have a scuba diving vacation planned. I work too much. And now, coming in at number 1, we have the goblin shark. The goblin shark, I mean, what the heck is this? This is one of the oldest sharks ever, and it's often referred to as the living fossil because of it. A lot of this shark's lifestyle is completely, a mystery to scientists. The largest goblin shark on record was 12.6 feet long, and it weighed in at 463 pounds. But it's possible that goblin sharks can grow much bigger than that. One of its most distinctive features is its long, flattened snout, and nobody knows exactly what it's used for. But one of the most terrifying things about this shark is how they hunt. Their jaws are attached to elastic ligaments, so when a prey comes close enough, they can protrude their jaw, which allows the shark to catapult its whole mouth forward at a distance of 8 to 9% of its total body weight.
The teeth are sunk deep into the sleeve of the wetsuit, trapping the shark.
If humans were able to do this, we would be able to bite into a piece of food that is 7 inches away. Like, just imagine that. Actually, it'd be pretty horrifying.
In at number 10, we have the frilled shark. Yes, a shark with frills. Now, looking at this absolutely terrifies me. It's some kind of cross between a shark and a snake. Like, absolutely no thank you. The frilled shark is classed as a living fossil and exhibits primitive features. Now, it's around 2 meters long, so 6.5 foot. That is a big shark. It has an eel-like body with anal fins and 6 gills. Now, it preys on smaller sharks by lunging at them like a snake. Ugh. These sharks can be found anywhere from around 1,200 feet deep to 1,500 feet, and they're mostly in the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. In at number 9, the creepiest deep sea creature with the best name, it is the sarcastic fringehead. I mean, oh my goodness, look at this deep sea creepy creature. Like, it doesn't look sarcastic at all, it looks like it's being very, very serious when it says it's going to eat you. For me, it looks like a rainbow Death Eater from the deep depths of hell. The sarcastic fringehead lives 240 feet below sea level. It is a foot-long fish, so around 30 centimeters, and they are found in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California. Now, these fish like to live in little nooks and crannies. They like to live in discarded pieces of rubbish in the ocean, and they'll pop out and come and get you if you try and disturb them. For example, this fish will engage in a mouth wrestle with other sarcastic fringeheads if they have turf disputes. Now, they have a big old face. Look at that big old face. That is defense mechanism right there. They have needle-sharp teeth that could really pierce human skin if they came in contact with them, but they're not a major threat to human beings. So next up, we have the gulper eel. That's right, the gulper eel. I have some kind of like sympathy with this gulper eel. It swims around the ocean with its mouth wide open, hoping just to catch some food, and I kind of feel like that's me on a Friday night after like a long week. But then the sympathy stops when I look at its face and I think, oh my goodness, you could straight up engulf me. The gulper eel lives 3,000 feet below sea level and is luckily rarely seen by humans. Its mouth is much larger than its body and it can span 2.5 feet in length, so around 75 centimeters. Whilst the gulper eel has a massive mouth, it has comparatively very small teeth, so it can only eat smaller things. Essentially, the gulper eel is just a big show-off. In at number 7, we have the snaggletooth fish. The snaggletooth, also known as star eaters, a deep-sea stormid fish. Now, this fish is even creepier as it's luminous. It has a light-up red chin, guys. A physical light-up red chin. It uses this bright chin to lure in prey, which is usually smaller fish. I mean, look at its milky glazed over eyes. I just can't even. Now, this fish is found at around 500 meters deep in the sea and is around 26 centimeters long. In at number 6, we have the giant spider crab. That's right. Now, this terrifying crustacean lives 1,000 feet below the sea and can reach up to 12 foot long. This is the biggest crustacean in the ocean. Often called the Japanese spider crab, this snippy little snipster lives off the southern coast of the Japanese island of Honshu. Now, they'll eat anything including shellfish, they can pry stuff open with their claws, they'll eat dead fish and plants at the bottom of the ocean. Now, some people even go as far as to say that if dead bodies sink to the bottom of the oceans of sailors, etc., these crabs will eat them. No. Ramping up the creepy at number 5, we have the goblin shark. Yes, that is its actual factual name, the goblin shark. The goblin shark lives around 1,300 feet below sea level and is legit terrifying. This prehistoric nightmare has a family lineage dating back 125 million years. Now, this shark is pink in colour, has a flattened snout, is about 3.4 meters long, so 11 foot, and hunts for fish and crustaceans on the bottom of the ocean. Now, these are found around most of the world. You can find them off the coast of Australia, off the coast of North America, around the coast of Africa, and even off the coast of some European islands. Creepiest still at number 4, we have Tiburnia. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's creepy anyway. Now, the Tiburnia is a red jellyfish. It's big, it's creepy. Have a look at this deep sea jelly. Instead of tentacles, it has feeding arms. Just flappy feeding arms. I can't deal with the flappy feeding arms. This big red nightmare lives about 4,000 feet down in the ocean and has big fleshy oral arms. I can't. This jellyfish lives so far down in the ocean that we don't know a lot about it, but we do know that it's found in the Pacific Ocean. In at number 3, we have the humpback anglerfish. You know this fish, you've seen it, it's depicted in Finding Nemo. It is just as terrifying in real life, if not more so, because this is, as Landon would say, real life right now. The humpback anglerfish is often understandably called the common black devil and lives up to 6,000 feet below the sea. I am so afraid of this fish, I don't even know what to do with myself. Let me tell you the creepiest thing about these creatures. All of the males are absolute creeps. They go around the ocean looking for a female humpback anglerfish, they attach on like a parasite and live there forever, sharing sperm with her. Oh my god guys, just get off their back. Now these beasties live so deep down in the sea that we rarely see them, but we do know they're found mainly in New Zealand. In at number 2, we have one of the biggest, creepiest deep sea nightmares, the vampire squid of hell. I'm not making it up, that's its actual name, the vampire squid of hell. This hellish squid has the largest eye in the world. It has light up mucus and talons on its tentacles. Oh my god. It is actually neither a squid nor a vampire. It is more like an octopus and it eats particles of matter like marine snow. Now if you don't know what marine snow is, it's actually particles of decomposing stuff that float down to the bottom of the ocean. Kind of gross. It's actually very well adapted for its environment and it lives around 3,000 feet deep in the ocean where there isn't much oxygen. For me, I just can't get over the glowing mucus. No. Okay guys, so we have reached that point in our most amazing top 10 creepiest deep sea creatures where we have to pick the creepiest creature. Oh my goodness, the things we have seen, but there is one winner here for me. The creepiest thing I've probably ever seen in my life. It is the blobfish. Now the blobfish gets its name because it looks very much like just that, a blob. A blob with the face of an angry Yorkshireman maybe, but a blob no less. Now this gelatinous mass lives 3,500 feet down in the ocean, mostly around Australia and New Zealand. In 2013 it was voted the world's ugliest creature and you can absolutely see why. Now its body density is actually lighter than water, which means it can float around the seabed looking for things to eat. But just like look at its face, would you invite this fish to a party? No, I don't think so.